All right. Oh, I'm gonna hope this isn't too loud. Um. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of you guessed it, Friday Night Fight Talk. Um. I'm your host, as per usual, the excellent, the extraordinary, the extravagant Jays. And welcome back. Um. So yeah, just grab a seat, sit on down, and let me explain what the fuck just happened last week. Um. So last week. My laptop, it's probably 4 years old if I had to say. It just fucking shit the bed. It had a issue where basically my laptop, whenever it moved, it would shut down. So it's not really a fixable issue. That's the thing with laptops. You can't really take them apart. Um, you can't really replace the parts that easily. But my laptop, yeah, just completely went kaput, and then it stopped working because I managed to get it to sit still, and that's when I recorded the previous episode. I think it was the 312 episode. Um, and then the thing just stopped working the week of, and then I tried to get it to stay still. I plugged it in and everything, and it just did not want to work. So here we are now. I've got a new laptop, and yeah, it's fucking crazy good laptop. It's got like a 4070 in it. If you don't know computer terms, that's a really good graphics card. 32 gigabytes of RAM. I bought it for school. I'm just hoping it'll last a long. Anyways, we're skipping over all the generic life shit. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that Canada won the Four Nations last night. And that was fucking awesome. I love to see that. So yeah. So this weekend we got UFC Seattle, which started out as a fucking phenomenal fight night. Like one of the best fight nights I've ever fucking seen. And I shit you not. The only ones I can really think of that were better are like the ones with championship fights on them. I'm not even including like Noche UFC, like the first one. Even though it did have Kyle Nelson, the goat, on it. Um, but like the only ones that really compare to this is like UFC Saudi, and the thing with that is that it had a lot of Saudi fighters on it, other than like the main and co-main. And then obviously the recent one that just happened, was just heartbreaking. But other than MVP winning, that was fucking great. So yeah, UFC Seattle, Henry Cejudo, Song Yadong. Let's get into it. I think there's only 10 fights on this card. I'm not gonna lie, because so many got canceled. Oh no, there's like 12 because they've pulled in so many people on short notice because so much has been canceled. Um, like Gene Masumoto on the main card. Rob Font was scheduled against Dominic Cruz in the co-main event, which is supposed to be his retirement fight, but now he's had to call it because of injury. If you're watching this on YouTube in the little thumbnail, you can see Dominic Cruz giving you the big old middle finger. At least you should be able to see it. Hopefully, you might need glasses. Um, and then we had Steve Garcia versus Edson Barboza. Or sorry, Edson Barboza versus Steve Garcia. It's the other way around. But now Barboza's not even ranked. Recently, now that Zalal's in the rankings. Um, and I'm gonna have to go on a whole spiel about the rankings later. But let me get through my picks. I've rambled on for about 4 minutes, and that's crazy. So we got first off, light heavyweight, we got Modestas Bakauskas versus Rafael Circao. How do I say that name? Circaria. So Modestas Bakauskas, yeah. He last fought on 304. He also lost to Vitor Petrino, Khalil Roundtree, Tyson Pedro, people like that. So kind of outside the rankings. I've never thought too highly of him. Um and Rafael Sequeira, he's had the one fight. His last fight was against Ibo Aslan. And judging from what I'm seeing, or what I've seen out of both these guys, like I'm gonna say Modestas Bukauskas wins a decision. I don't get me wrong, he could definitely finish him. Like I just don't want to be risky. He could 100% finish him. Um, but I'm gonna say that fuck. Actually, oh, I need to think about this. Why didn't I think about this more? I'm really nah. You know what? Bukowski's gonna KO him in the second. I'll say that. Modestas Bukauskas is gonna KO him in the second. I have changed my mind. Modestas Bukauskas will KO Sir Carrier, or whatever the fuck his name is, in the second round. Next up, we got at middleweight. His last fight was at welterweight. We have Nursultan Ruzaboyev versus Eric. Oh fuck, I don't know how to say your name. Mechanico. Sure, that's how it's gonna be. So I believe both these guys are getting pulled in on short notice. Obviously, Mechanico or whoever the fuck his name is literally debuting. And Nursultan Ruzaboyev is just getting pulled in because why the fuck not? So a lot of people were expecting Ruzaboyev to kill Buckley, but obviously we didn't realize that at the time that was only Buckley's like second ranked welterweight fight. That Buckley was going to be that fucking good at welterweight. Guy's a fucking beast. Future champion, hint, hint. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, I said it. He could beat Bilal. Yeah, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, you fool. Yeah, I obviously I'm gonna pick Ruzaboyev to submit him in the first. I feel like that's a risky-ish pick, but Ruzaboyev has 20 submissions on his belt. 25 finishes in the first round. Now I don't know how he's going to operate on short notice, and obviously this Mechanico guy is debuting. But Ruzaboyev, the guys he's beat or at least fought are decent. Like he beat I believe it was it's Bruno Ferreira. Sorry, not Diego Ferreira. It's a guy Abbas Magomedov lost to. But he did beat Cedric Dumas. That's genuine, like by round 1 KO, that's genuinely an impressive win. Like that is an impressive win. But coming back up, I think he's gonna submit him in the first. Next up we got a catchweight bout. I actually think we have a decent amount of catchweights. We have like the Rob Font one's a catchweight too. We got Nikolai Veretennikov? I don't know. He's the fucking lame Kazakh. He's like fucking Borat. And Austin Vanderford. Now if I'm not wrong, Vanderford just got signed. Is he getting pulled in on short notice? I think he's getting pulled in on short notice. He just got signed. I haven't seen much of him, but I know he was big outside the UFC. And then what's his face? Other dude had his last fight. He fought Danny Barlow. Fuck, I forget. I really forget who won that. Oh, that was on the fucking Forsaken card, but I think he won that, right? 'Cause, yeah, Danny Barlow's undefeated. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So he's coming off a loss. Vanderford is debuting. I'm gonna take the risk here. I'm actually gonna say Vanderford wins a decision here. Now I don't know much about this guy. I don't know if he has all finishes. Here, let me look at I can actually pull up the stats now, which is great. He looks like he doesn't have too many finishes. He's got over 50%, but I'm fucking barely. So yeah, I'll say Vanderford wins a decision. That's a very risky pick though. Next up, bantamweight. This is a very hype matchup for me. I like this fight a lot. At least, hopefully, I like this fight a lot. Because don't get me wrong, someone can definitely get wrestle fucked against the cage here. We got Ricky Simone versus Javid Basharat. Ricky Simone was in the rankings as of like early last year, I think, and he just hasn't been doing that good since. He lost to the fucking rodent Mario Bautista. Back when I didn't fucking hate him. That's when he Bautista fucking jumped over his kick. He also lost to Song Yadong, who's in the main event. Fuck, who do you lose to before that? And he recently lost to Vinicius Oliveira, but the thing with that is that Vinicius Oliveira is at least on a tear, so like I'm okay with it, and I like Vinicius Oliveira. But he just really hasn't been doing that good lately. And Javid Basharat, one of the Basharat brothers, this is the one that got their ass whooped by Zahabi. Okay? So this guy, he definitely is better than his brother because the amount of skill it takes to beat this guy must be through the roof because only a Canadian could do it. And it just happens to be the only ranked bantamweight that's Canadian right now. So he's a big betting favorite going into this. And I won't lie, the way I kind of a shitty matchup because Ricky Simone's been on a downfall. Don't get me wrong, entertainment standpoint, hopefully Simone will make it entertaining. But Simone's been on a downfall. Basharat's had his first career loss. I'm gonna pick Basharat to win a decision. I just haven't seen enough out of Ricky Simone lately. He's lost, and now granted, he's lost to some really good guys in his division. He's lost to Song Yadong, he lost to Mario Bautista, and he lost to Vinicius Oliveira, probably the best unranked bantamweight right now. And yeah, it's I think Ricky Simone's gonna add another loss to his record. I think he's gonna go on what's that gonna be, like a 3-fight losing streak? Must be. I think it is. So he'll be on a 4. Hopefully he doesn't get cut or anything. I don't think he really deserves to be cut for being in the rankings not that long ago. One more fight though, say he goes on a 5, yeah, get him out of here. But even then, if he loses here, it's not that bad of a loss. But you need to really give him a fucking layup fight next. Okay, next up, middleweight, we got Mansour Abdul Malik and Nick Klein. This is a pretty fucking obvious answer here. I'm not gonna lie. I think Abdul Malik is gonna go on a fucking tear in middleweight. As if he gets in the rankings, I'm not sure, but Nick Klein, he's off the Contender Series. I don't know much about him. I'm picking Mansour Abdul Malik by, I'll say, around 2 KO. These prospects, they have the tendency whenever they debut hot and then their second fight, they just kind of fall off. Now, granted, we've seen big betting favorites like this lose, like Peyton Talbot on 311. Just got fucking wrestle fucked by Barcelos. And yeah, so hopefully he knows how to grapple. I'm pretty sure he does. Not just no Robelis to Spain shit out here, and we're okay. Okay, next up, this is another great fight. Don't get me wrong. As much as there's been a lot of cancellations, I think this is still an amazing fight night card. You can recognize a lot of the people on this card from great fights. Big stars. Yeah, I think this is a really good card. So we got Andre Fili versus, oh fuck, I still can't say your name. Melchiziel Costa? Fucking Half-Blood. I don't know. That's probably controversial. Andre Fili, he had his last fight with Cub Swanson. I think it was on the International Fight Week card. That was a really fucking close fight. He won it, but then he also got fucking flatline KO'd by Dan Ige not that long ago. I forget which one that was, but I remember it happening fucking back of my hand. And then we got fucking Melzikiel Costa. I can't tell what race this guy is, I'm not gonna lie. But he's got weird looking hair, which makes you think he wants to be Sugar Sean O'Malley, and someone tattooed on his chest. So he's actually the betting favorite for this card, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know why. I don't know why. From what I've seen out of him, don't get me wrong, he looks good. Do people forget who Andre Fili is? He had a good submission. Great. You still lost to Steve Garcia, and Steve Garcia is great. Don't get me wrong, I think he's going to get into the rankings, but come on. Someone who picks up a win every once in a while versus Andre Fili, who really has only lost recently to Dan Ige and Nathaniel Wood. That's it. I have to say Andre Fili wins a decision. I don't think he'll KO him, but I believe Philly will win a decision. And then we got a prelim headliner here. We got Ion Kutalaba versus Ibo Aslan. So a lot of people are high on Ibo Aslan. And once upon a time ago, people were high on Ion Cutelaba, big time, big time. Like the Khalil Roundtree fight when he's fucking yelling in people's faces and shit. Urgh. And he had his last fight. I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was UFC Paris. Very close fight still. Or sorry, I don't remember it being a close fight. I thought he won it confidently, but I remember one of the judges I think was blind, and gave it to the other guy on one of his scorecards. But Ion Cutelaba, what the fuck happened to this guy? He's fallen off so hard. Like, this guy went from KOing Khalil Roundtree, who gave Alex Pereira the toughest test of his career outside of Izzy, to fucking losing to whoever fucking, what's his face is from 299. I can't even remember his name. That's the thing. It's like Bilal, light heavyweight Bilal. It was, the Linz guy. Whatever his fucking first name it was, it's him. And Ivo Aslan, a lot of people high on this guy. But he only has a one fight. I need to see more of him. That being said, he's up against Ion Cutelaba. I definitely think he's gonna fucking KO him in the second. Yeah, I believe Ivo Aslan is going to KO Ion Cutelaba in the second round, probably. A lot of people are really high on him. I've said that like 3 times now. I do definitely believe that he could be ranked one day, but at the same time, I thought the exact same thing about Vitor Petrino one time. Go watch fucking like Bedtime MMA back. And he'll talk. I forget if it was Bedtime or not. It might have been Lucas Tracy. That sounds about right because he's a little more dense. They're talking about like Vitor Petrino is going to be in title contention soon. Yeah, a bit more of a casual. So yeah, I remember when he was ranked number 15, and then I didn't even think he was gonna. I don't think anyone had him winning that or losing the Anthony Smith fight. Speaking of Anthony Smith, what kind of fucking retirement fight is that? Why is he up against Min Yang Zhang? That's a light heavyweight killer. And you're putting him up against a legend for his retirement fight? Holy shit. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Opening up the main card, we got Alonzo Menifield versus Julius Walker. Somehow Alonzo Menifield is still ranked. I don't know how. I hate the guy, but it should be Roman Dolidze. A lot of people forget Roman Dolidze beat Anthony Smith pretty dominantly, and they did not rank him. They only just brought Anthony Smith down. But Julius Walker, Menifield was originally supposed to face Umar Sy, which I would have picked Sy if that fight was still happening. But now we have Walker debuting, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm still not confident in Menifield. But I'm gonna say Menifield wins a decision. I think he wins a decision. Yeah, obviously, now granted, it is short notice. He could KO him. I just think Alonzo Menifield's kind of a can. And I really don't think he's gonna fucking do much. Like he gave Justin Jacoby a decision. When you go to a fucking draw with Jimmy Crute, bro, there's a problem with being ranked there. You probably shouldn't be ranked, and maybe the guy that beat the number 12 guy and just didn't get ranked should be ranked. And we also got to remember, Menifield beat, what's his face? Like the fake UFC fighter. The guy who made it to the UFC and he just thought he was, he just thought he could fool the UFC. So they fucking fed him Alonzo Menifield and they're like, oh, wait, you've never fought before. Oh, you faked all your fights. Okay, well, we're going to cut you. His official record was 0-0. When he entered the UFC, he was 0-0, technically. So he's 0-1. I don't know. There's a really good video about that somewhere. If you guys haven't watched it. But yeah, I'm going to pick Alonzo Menifield to win a decision. He's looked like shit lately, and frankly, I don't think he's going to look too good in this fight either. At As to how the fuck he's still ranked after like 3 ranked losses back to back to back, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Was it? Oh no, 2 ranked losses. But he lost to Olberg in like 12 seconds, and then Mirzakhanov really quickly as well. And then that draw with fucking Jimmy Crute. No one talks about that. Okay. Next up. I'm hyped out of my fucking mind for this. We got Gene Silva versus Melsick, whatever your name is. When I first saw Gene Silva fight in the UFC, it was the Walker versus Ankalaev card last year. I really didn't like him because he wouldn't stop fucking barking at the camera. Plain and simple. Then he had the CGI fight with Charles Jourdain. Obviously, Charles Jourdain, like you guys know, he submitted Gene Silva in the second round. But there's a common leak online that a lot of people watch that it shows that Gene Silva chinned Jourdain in the second. Don't believe it. It's a lie. And then obviously he went up a decision on like a couple days notice. Or it might have been a couple days notice, but it was also like a 2-week span. Which I think is one of the fastest in the UFC. I think the only person that I can really think of off the top of my head that has a faster win was Khamzat Chimaev. I think, what is it, 10 days? I forget why it happened, but I think it was 10 days. Between his fight. Hold on, yeah. I'm actually gonna look this up real quick. I swear it's Chimaev. What is the least amount of time between wins? UFC. I swear it's Khamzat. Oh, technically it's Lupi Godinez. That's a Canadian, so that's great. Let's see. Lupi Godinez. Khamzat Chimaev, it was 10. So Lupi Godinez technically has the record. It's 7. But if we're talking the men's divisions, it's Khamzat. As to how the fuck there were 10-day events, I forget. Every 10 days? Yes, UFC, since he felt like he didn't take any damage, he was already on UFC Fight Island. Huh. That's weird. Okay, anyways, I'm getting fucking distracted. Oof. So yeah, to get to the point, I like Gene Silva a lot now. Even though it was CGK of Charles Jourdain. I see a lot of people saying that this fight's gonna go to a decision. Me personally, I don't fucking see it. I'm gonna say Charles Jourdain had never been chinned before. I think Gene Silva's gonna chin this guy. I'll say it goes to the third, but it could be any round. I think he's gonna chin him, but it could be a very surprisingly competitive decision. Okay, feature bet. We got Rob Font versus Gene Matsumoto. How the fuck is Gene Matsumoto the betting favorite? How? I just want to ask how. He's coming in on short notice and I think he's a featherweight, and I get that he's great. But he's got like fucking 2 fights in the UFC, and he had a CGI win over Brad Katona. Like, that's his notable win. It's Brad Katona. He had a CGI win over Brad Katona. That's it. I really can't think of I can't think of another win he had at all. But Rob Font has shown in fights that he probably shouldn't be winning that he could fucking win them. Like who picked Rob Font against Kyler Phillips? I didn't even pick him. I thought Kyler Phillips was gonna win. Obviously, he had that fight with Davison Figueiredo, Corey Sandhagen. That was a fucking boring fight. People were probably picking Font to lose to Yanez. He fraud checked Yanez. And he's kind of that guy that you have to fight. He's like the real gatekeeper. He is like the gatekeeper of the UFC, in my opinion. Even if he loses every once in a while, or not every once in a while, he loses more fights than he wins. But the ones he wins are so important, and the ones he loses are so important. Like Cheeto Vera beat him. Aldo beat him. Cody Garbrandt. Rob Font beat him. Okay? Corey Sandhagen beat Rob Font. Now, granted, Sandhagen was above him in the rankings. Welcome Davison Figueiredo to bantamweight. Figgy beat him. Figgy's a top 5 right now. So, that being said, I'm picking Rob Font to win a decision. I don't think he'll TKO him. Rob Font isn't really a TKO type of guy. Even with the catch weight, I don't think it matters. Co-main event. We got Brendan Allen versus Anthony Hernandez. So Brendan Allen, I obviously thought he was going to be Imavov because I think Imavov is a fake contender, but now that he KO'd Izzy, I can't really call him that. But I think Brendan Allen's underrated. I think he's underrated. He's just really fucking boring. But there's someone else I think that is more underrated, and that motherfucker's Anthony Hernandez. I think he's probably the most underrated, one of the most underrated ranked UFC fighters, but also definitely the most underrated middleweight. Obviously, I don't know if anyone watched the Hernandez Pereira episode or listened to it, I guess. But I said that if it makes it to the first round, Hernandez is going to fucking dominate him. I didn't really, that's the one fight I think I've had that I didn't really have like a consistent pick. Like I just swapped it back and forth. I didn't realize that Michel Pereira was fucking, had horrible cardio. Round 1 cardio. I didn't think it'd be that bad. But yeah, Hernandez beat Roman Kopylov. Obviously, he's ranked now. I think Roman Kopylov's ranked number 14, which you know what, I'm fine with that. I hate Bo Nickel being ranked. I think that's stupid. And he had a CGI win over Marc-Andre Barriault, but I think Anthony Hernandez, skill wise, one of the best people in the division right now, and this is my hot take of the day or whatever. I don't fucking know. I think Anthony Hernandez could be Khamzat Chimaev. I just fucking said it. Now, granted, I also think Dreykus could beat Chimaev, or will beat Chimaev, because I guess that fight is happening. But I think Anthony Hernandez, skill-wise, can beat Chimaev. I know that's a hot take. That being said, I'm going to pick Anthony Hernandez by decision. I don't think he's going to TKO Allen. Allen, I can't even remember the last fight he got TKO'd in. Was it the Sean Strickland fight, maybe? Like all those years ago? Fuck, man. I'm trying to think. I really don't know. Fuck, the last fight he lost? Even? No, you know what? It was a Chris Curtis fight all that way back. Before Chris Curtis was just a fucking can. Anyways, Anthony Hernandez decision, blah, 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 blah. Then, main event, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people are underestimating Henry Cejudo in this matchup. But, coming off his retirement, the success we've seen from him, he won a round against Marab, that's about it. He had a close fight with Aljo, to be fair, that's pretty good. But when you're losing close fights, I can't really pick you confidently. But also, Song Yadong had one fight last year against Petr Yan. And other than that, his wins were Chris Gutierrez and Ricky Simone, who aren't even ranked anymore. Neither of them. This is such a hard fight for me to predict. I know this sounds really weird. But this guy's best win recently is washed Marlon Moraes. So, man, I don't fucking know. This is such a hard fight for me to predict. But over the course of 5 rounds, I have more confidence in Henry Cejudo. I'm actually going to pick Henry Cejudo to win a decision. I think Yadong will win the early rounds. And there will be some damn near KO risks. But I do believe Henry Cejudo will manage to win the fight by decision. I think Yadong will win the first 2 rounds, and Cejudo will use his amazing fight IQ, rally, and win the fight, I think. So that's it for my picks. Now, I want to talk about what just happened. Everyone knows what just happened. You all listening, you all know what happened. 314 and 315 got their main events and a shitload of fights confirmed. And not only that, outside of that, there's huge news. Like, other than that, Because obviously, the big one, Ilya Taporia vacating the title. Just think about that for a minute. With one title defense, Ilya Taporia is going to vacate the title and move up to lightweight, and the UFC apparently doesn't want any double champions anymore, which I think is fucking stupid. I think that's fucking stupid. But my boy, Alexander Volkanovski, is fucking back after a year or so off, and I genuinely believe, I have no doubt in my mind right now. When I saw the announcement, I was iffy at first. I was like, fuck, yo, they put Volk against Lopez? Shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, he might get KO'd. And I thought about it for a sec. I was like, Volk's fought Holloway 3 fucking times. Not granted in his prime, but he's also fought people like Yair, Ortega, and I get it. Volk is old, but he's taken a year off. He started the cut early, and he genuinely seems confident, and I might actually pick Volk to win by a TKO. It's a genuine question for me, because my first thought when I first saw the post off my head is Volk decision. Is Volk by decision. But looking at it now, I'm kind of thinking Volk TKO. Like the Yair fight-ish. Anyways, in other news, co-main, Chandler versus Patty. Now hear me out. I don't really like Chandler that much. I have a disdain for him. But mate, I don't fucking know about this one. I need to lay off the cheeseburgers. Mate, I think I might fucking lose. For once, I might think I fucking... Mate, I think Jay's gonna pick Chandler against me. I genuinely think I'm gonna pick Chandler. Now, I need to wait till I get closer, because I still need to think about it, but I think I'm gonna pick Chandler. And Yair and Pitbull, that's crazy. Like 314 is looking fucking great, and 315 for a Canadian card looks fucking spectacular. Bilal and JDM, I was not expecting that. Especially since JDM's already booked. They just rebooked him. Put Sean Brady against Leon. But I love that fight. I love the idea of it. Couldn't really care for Valentina and Monfiro. I know the French crowd there is gonna fucking love him. I personally couldn't give two shits. I'm cheering for Valentina. Might get shot on the way home if I'm cheering for Valentina. But I'm hoping JDM and I'm hoping Valentina win. And then Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales is also on that card, as well as Benoit Saint-Denis and Yoel Alvarez, which I really like, and Grasso Silva. I couldn't care. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try my damnedest to go to that card. Fuck. What was the other thing? Ilya Taporia moving up a division. I really did not just get that excited and go through all of that quickly. I think I did. Yeah, I guess I did. Well, okay, I guess that's really it. That's all I had for this episode. We actually didn't get any questions, so far at least, and it's almost 5 o'clock, so you guys are gonna be listening to this in about like half an hour. Yeah, I know, right? I record these episodes right before they come out because I want to get all the questions in, just in case. And yeah, I guess that's about it. No questions, no fucking comments, no concerns. Volk's getting the belt back. That's all I care about. Okay, yeah. Well, thank you guys once again, and I will see you guys all next week. Hopefully this laptop doesn't explode. Bye bye.